You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This is episode 104 of the Wisdom by WESA show on the Horse Radio Network. This is Mike Donnell.
I'm Casey Wilbanks-Coletti.
And this is Sofia Ayala. Welcome to Wisdom by WESA on the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This podcast is brought to you by the Western and English Sales Association, WESA, which provides the world's largest trade events for retailers, manufacturers, and sales representatives of the equestrian industry. In this podcast, we feature exclusive interviews with noteworthy Western and English personalities, retailers, and exhibitors who you've always wanted to talk to. Don't miss out on all the news for manufacturers and retailers in the equine industry. Sophia, the January WESA trade show just wrapped up. Can you share with us your firsthand experience this go-round?
Yes, so we were excited to see lots of people at the past WESA trade show. As we mentioned before, the show actually expanded to 10th floor of the Dallas Market Center. And looking at these stats of the past show, the association increased its numbers across all categories, attracting more buyers, more exhibitors, a higher international presence, and offering more product lines across a larger show space.
Who attended this year?
So in total, we welcomed 1,250 stores, of which over 100 were international stores and over 350 were brand new to the WESA trade show. And 450 exhibitors showcased the newest trends and product lines across almost 235,000 square feet of exhibit space. So there was lots to discover and order.
Just so everyone can mark it down in their calendars, can you share with us when the next WESA trade show is?
Yes, of course. So the next WESA trade show will take place in August. That is August 23rd through the 26th of this year. And that's a Wednesday through Saturday pattern. That's actually a new show day pattern. And it might be important to note that exhibitors will get an extra seniority point if they exhibit in both of the 2023 WESA trade shows. So that's January and August, because it then gives them a total of 4 seniority points. So an additional one for the August show. And of course, with each seniority point, you get a better booth location. So exhibitors can set the reminders to March 31st. That is when the contract goes live on WESATradeshow.com.
Since its founding in 1966, Durango Boots has been a staple in the Western boot business and has been an aggressive marketer, becoming the official boot of the Grand Ole Opry, the Country Music Association, and the NFR, and has also assembled an impressive professional rodeo team to represent the brand. Marketing manager Erin DeLong joins us today to share a more detailed overview of the brand's marketing approach. Erin DeLong, thank you so much for joining us on the Wisdom by WESA show.
Thank you for having me, Mike. I'm excited to be here.
This has been, of course, Durango has been a well-known brand. I was looking at the history back. The company started in 66, and it's always been an aggressive marketing company. That's a very competitive field that you're in. You know, now that you are the marketing manager, we can talk about, some of the unique accomplishments. You guys are the official boot of a lot of different organizations. You've got a top-level rodeo marketing team. You also are selling online and through the retail market. And so I kind of want to talk about all of those. But let's talk first, I think, about some of the really high-profile organizations that you've aligned yourself with.
Well, like you mentioned, Mike, which you did a great job kind of illustrating a lot that Durango's a part of, and we're very proud of that. And over the last couple of years, our brand has pivoted in a good way, kind of making a 180 in regards to our product assortment and then our sponsorships and partners that we align with. So like you mentioned, we are involved heavily within the Western market. And one that we're very proud of is the official boot of the NFR. The PRCA is a phenomenal organization to align with, and they have wonderful people on their team. So this year will be 3 years that we've been the official boot of the National Finals Rodeo. And it's been a tremendous event. And honestly strengthening equity-wise event for our brand. And through that has blossomed, some fun products for men, women, and kids that we've made that have, been something that those consumer bases that love the NFR and are very proud within the rodeo circuit. So that's been a great thing for our brand to align with.
But you're also in the music business.
We are in the music business. So other than on the core Western rodeo segment, we also don't want to forget those that love country music, that have more of the aspirational feel within their lifestyle. So you kind of think of country music, you think of the red dirt sound in Texas, but you also think of Nashville, Tennessee. And so we have two partners there. We are a supporter of the Grand Ole Opry, which is one of the longest standing stages in country music that made country music famous, essentially. And then also CMA Fest, which is a 4-day music event downtown Nashville in June that has every country music artist right now that's current, performing. So we definitely have our feet, no pun intended, in both worlds.
Now, you're marketing both through the retail and through online. Talk a bit about your retail network and what it does for the brand.
Correct. So we have both an online presence, our website, durangoboots.com, but we also support a lot of our brick and mortar retailers. So all of those from the larger key accounts to the smaller mom and pops that are national. So coast to coast, all, the United States, we have a presence in all of those Western stores, which has been terrific, for us telling the brand story through our retailers. They've been a pivotal, vital role in our brand's growth. I think right now post-COVID and everyone kind of wanting to support local and go back into stores and shop has been wonderful for our brand and for our business. And my role in particular on more on the traditional side is supporting those key retailers, whether that be telling our story and building concept shops in their stores and illustrating our brand's persona and fun, styles that we have to offer for men, women, and kids. So that's been really great. But also on the online, if they have an online presence as well, supporting them in that aspect.
You mentioned a concept shop. What does that mean for people who don't know for sure?
So in some stores, it's kind of fun. We get to merchandise. So when I say concept shop, maybe merchandising is another word that most people are familiar with. But a lot of times our retailers will designate areas devoted to some of their stronger brands in the footwear department. So when they walk in, you want to give consumers, a nice experience when they shop. And obviously, we can't be there to sell our products. So we're relying on our retailers and their employees. So I think building the brand, making it strong, telling that story through POP, through displays, through something that's eye-catching. So whether that be, an area right there that illustrates all the different, products that we offer, our technology, some of the pivotal, iconic DNA points in our brand that we can illustrate, that's what we like to do. So it's really a merchandising tactic where they walk in and they see a sea of Durango boots all on the wall that makes them eager, excited, wanting to try them, and hopefully buy one or all of them.
Now, I presume there are still some retailers out there who might be interested that don't carry Durango. What do you look for in terms of a retail business to add them to your distribution line?
So, we obviously want as many people as possible to sell, our brand. And I think definitely making sure that they fit the criteria as a strong Western key retailer and, in geographical areas that maybe our brand's not as strong in. And so aligning with them if there's an opportunity or it's really kind of low-hanging fruit for us, like, for example, if we're not in a key part of a certain state that, does really well within the Western segment, that would be a great opportunity for retailers to think, hey, we have a rodeo that's close, or we have a country music festival that's close that would bring a lot of foot traffic in. It'd be great to align your brand with us having that strong presence in that area. So again, we're always looking for key retailers, in areas that maybe aren't familiar with the Durango brand that would love to have it. So we're always looking for opportunities to grow the brand indoors.
Great. Well, and the next topic is one that Casey can chime in on as well. You have a rodeo team. Casey and I have been in the rodeo marketing world for a long time and even had a podcast at one time talking about rodeo marketing, but everybody kind of uses their team differently. So I want to chat a bit about how the rodeo team fits into your marketing scheme. And Casey, you can chime in here as well because you're still competing. You probably know some of these people. You can chat from your perspective about how rodeo marketing teams can help the athlete.
I'm looking through the team right now, Erin, and I think that the one thing that pops out at me, I'm looking at all the names and I immediately see integrity. I think that's an obvious something that you would go for when partnering up with some of these athletes, but maybe give us some insight on how you pick the people that you want to partner with to be on your team. I'll just throw one out there, Garrett Yerrigan. I'm going to call him an up-and-coming rodeo announcer, but he's really not up-and-coming anymore. He's amazing, and he's gotten some new really great gigs. Very neat guy, very cool guy with a lot of integrity right along with everybody else. So just one example, but what do you look for in these people you're teaming up with?
Well, Casey, I love that word you used because we value, and we have 19 athletes on our Team Durango Pro Rodeo team, and we value them so highly. And like you said, I think it's important when you have a brand and you are looking for, quote unquote, poster children, right, to represent you in the arena, but also out of the arena. It's vital to have athletes that are well respected in that industry, that have a high integrity, have a high character, that have morals and values, and just really, do the right things. And I can't say enough how proud we are of these athletes. Garrett's funny you mentioned him. I was just talking to him earlier today. Phenomenal guy, so incredibly talented. And like you mentioned, up and coming, we have a couple others from a youth standpoint. I think it's important when you are looking at, at your roster as it grows, to get in front of the youth, right? So the future within our generation is, what are they wearing? Getting in front of them at a younger age versus when they're older, I think is critical. And a lot of these athletes play a key role in that influence. And what I love about this team is honestly the impact they have on their fans. I use Lisa Lockhart a lot of times because she is just the queen in barrel racing into so many of her fans' eyes. And I remember we were at a meet and greet with her years ago, and I was kind of standing off to the side playing the photographer with pictures with her fans, and there were girls in tears coming up to her, talking about her legacy and talking about her. And it's just amazing to see the impact that they have. So, for us, we are very picky, and I think we want to be that way, to making sure we get the best of the best on the team across various disciplines. But it's been so exciting to see it grow. And as Mike, as you mentioned too, a part of our marketing, they have infiltrated so much knowledge into our product assortment that's had our brand grow and evolve because of that. And I do have a really kind of a fun story. I tell this to a lot of folks. We have one collection in particular. It's the Rebel Pro line, and it's available in men's and women's. But when we were birthing that idea, we went to Luke Brown, who's one of our team roper athletes. He was one of our very first athletes we signed. And we were really critiquing a lot of the product that Luke was wearing prior to wearing Durango, and what he liked, what he didn't. And what we noticed was Luke would walk on the outside of his boot. And so the outside of his boot would be worn. And so with that was birthed a patented technology that only Durango has, and it's called the dually shank system. And what that means is we have two shanks in our boot versus one. So a lot of boots, or if not all, have only one shank, which is the point in the boot that gives you more torsion and lateral stability. And having two shanks gives you double the support, essentially. And by instilling that allows more for a natural flex and heel strike when you walk. So my point in saying that long-winded story was because of Luke's ability to show us, hey, this is what I'm needing in this boot. I'm wearing this boot out. That dually shank has helped him in these Durango boots that he's wearing to not do that anymore. But also we've instilled that in a lot of our other products in our brand. So that was kind of a fun way to use them as a soundboard and a VOC for our products.
And another thing that's interesting to me, going back to all the team members and speaking of their integrity, for sure, I can go through this list and say, if a kid comes up to any one of these people, they are going to stop and take and give them the time. And now that the Cowboy Channel has done such a great job bringing rodeo into the homes of so many these kids and the youth, they get to follow these athletes through the whole year, not just when they come to their hometown rodeo or they go to Vegas. They get to see them all the time. I say that to say you have a very cool section. If you click on each team member on your site, you could go to their it's like says shop Stevie Hillman's picks of what boots she wears, what they like. And we know kids do that for multiple reasons, whether they want to have the best, products for themselves, or they like the way they look, or they want to be like their idol or whatever. So very cool for your retailers, that kids can get on here and say, I want these. They know exactly what they're looking for because you're showcasing this on your website.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important, it's a two-way street with any partnership. You want to make sure the brand fits with the individual and the athlete fits with the brand. And that's, been the vital differentiating factor with these athletes, where they're coming and they're loving the brand. They love what they wear. They're talking and promoting it. But it's helped. It's helped with a lot of our key retailers because geographically, if there's an athlete well known in a certain part of the region that maybe their store's at, they want to promote that. Hey, I have Garrett Jurgen is from, this area and they have a store there. Let's start promoting and talking about him. So it's been a really nice, hand and fit glove and opportunity for us to go to our retailers saying, hey, here's these athletes, here's what they're endorsing and wearing. Bring them into your store, and sell them in this area because they're doing really well. Sure. And it's fun. I think a lot of their followers and their fans want to wear what their idol or, kind of their heroes wearing. Course. And so that's been super fun.
Yeah. Well, great team.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We're so proud of them and all they've accomplished and all they will accomplish in the future.
I want to change the topic just a little bit. I mean, we're just starting 2023. COVID is a couple of years behind us, but inflation is certainly with us now at this point with higher prices for most people. You are in a business that relies on retail and online sales. You may or may not be an optional purchase for many people, but as a leading brand and someone who is trying to navigate the economic scene, if you will, how do you see the Western fashion, the Western boot market as we enter into this kind of an economy, and how is Durango going to adjust for it as well?
Well, Mike, I would say we are in a very unique situation with that. And, throughout COVID, our team and brand had a banner year. And it's kind of funny to say that because everyone, was really preparing, I think, for the worst with that. And I know economically things are a little different now than they were in kind of the 2020, 2021 or so years. But I will say, fortunate for us right now, I think the pendulum is still swinging towards the Western market in regards to the Yellowstone craze, right? So you get everyone that's non-rodeo, that's non-Western, now taking, kind of taking a second look, saying, this is kind of cool. This is neat. I want to be Beth. I want to be Rip. And so I think right now we still are in a unique situation that that craze is still hot and trending, that folks are still wanting to look that part, even if they don't have an affiliation necessarily in the Western world, from a headwear, from, a belt buckle, from jewelry, from the footwear, if you will. So for us, we're continuing to ride that, and we're seeing that uptick, especially in the fashion. Again, I know that kind of ebbs and flows a little bit more on the women's side of things, on the fashion market within Western, but we are seeing that uptick. And I think we're continuing to try to evolve and try to provide, product that our consumers want and need, or provide something they didn't even realize they needed. Right. So within marketing, you're always wanting to answer, that product need and want, or show them, hey, this is what you need, and they didn't realize they need it. And the really nice thing about our brand and what I love about it is there's so many different facets. So we're not just core Western performance, even though that's something that, right now we're growing. We have a work division. We have Western work products that have done significantly well for us over the last couple of years, especially going into that market. We have fashion forward products again. We have casual offerings. We have premium exotic styles that, we really haven't had too much of in the past, but now that's something that's been very, very strong for our brand. So I think playing in those different categories has been vital. So you're not pigeonholing your brand into just one segment. So heaven forbid that goes under, that's all you had. So that's the nice thing about our team, our product team that is trying to evolve as, economic things change and as we hopefully see trends change in the next coming years. But that's been something for us, being flexible and being, maybe calling an audible every once in a while is a need. But thankfully for us, we've been able to kind of waver through all of these changes.
Well, I think, if I'm one of your retailers or I'm a potential retailer, I'm very heartened to hear that optimistic, positive approach to the market and to the business. And we thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. That's what we keep telling ourselves and keep, working through. The glass is always half full. That's my mentality.
Listen, we could probably talk about the boot and the boot world and the rodeo world, especially with this group we have here for a long time. But we do thank you for spending some time to be on the Wisdom by WESA podcast, learning a lot more about Durango boots. I mean, it's an old historic brand, but certainly has a contemporary spin now that you and your marketing team are steering it. And we congratulate you for all of the sponsorships you put together and the rodeo team you're putting together, and recognizing, I guess, what it takes to be successful in what is a brutally competitive market.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate the time. Thank you for having me on. For those listening that haven't tried a pair of Durango boots, I promise you won't regret it. You can get them at any local retailer or on our website at durangoboots.com.
Good way, Nanda. Thanks a lot. We appreciate your being here. The show notes and the links from today's show can be found at wisdombywesa.com. Click on podcasts. And of course, we'd love to hear your feedback. If you have some, there is a contact link on that site.
The Wisdom by WESA show will be published on the 15th and 30th of every month. You can listen on most of your favorite podcast players, and you can also listen on the Horse Radio Network app on your iOS or Android phone. You just search Horse Radio Network in the App Store. It's free and super easy to use. Be sure to visit all the great shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com. Thanks for listening to the Wisdom by WESA podcast. WESA, where the industry meets.